Hello everyone! Today we're going to trade using the strategy based on technical analysis. We're going to work with support and resistance levels, uptrends and downtrends, technical analysis figures, as well as other cases and patterns in the market. And to help with technical analysis, we're going to use the Awesome Oscillator indicator. This indicator will tell us which volumes prevail in the market for increase or decrease. Accordingly, this information will help us in analyzing the market. Now I will remind you how this indicator works. But before we get started, don't forget to get a profitable trading signals from me. Send me the code word team to my private messages in Telegram and I will add you to my closed Telegram channel where I'm going to share my profitable trading signals with you. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like my videos, leave a comment and press the bell. And now let's get started. I have it already connected, it's under the chart, all settings are left by default. The indicator consists of a horizontal line with a mark of 0, on different sides of which a green and red histogram is formed. And the signal is the moment when, for example, a green histogram is formed. It means that volumes are growing for an increase and soon the price will move up. Accordingly, in a similar case, we could open a trade for a raise. When a red histogram is formed, it means that volumes for fall are growing and soon the price will move down. In a similar case, we could open a trade for a fall. At the same time, the indicator may have false signals. For example, when the price moves in a trading zone, at such moments, as a rule, a green or red histogram is formed. That is, the price moves in a certain range. This is a kind of a price corridor and there is no pronounced unidirectional movement here. Accordingly, the indicator readings change very often, which is why a green or red histogram is formed. Therefore, you can skip such cases and not open trades. Also, for example, during an upward movement, pullbacks in the opposite direction may occur and the indicator also reacts to these movements. And for example, in an uptrend, when a green histogram is formed, a red histogram may partially begin to form just during the pullback. But it doesn't mean that there will be a reversal now and the price will move down. It's important to know and understand such moments, and when trading, for example, in an uptrend, take into account the formation of a red histogram and consider it as an error. It's important to take into account the general trading case when trading and have a full understanding of what is happening in the market at given time period. Of course, you will be able to determine all this thanks to the trading experience that you will be able to acquire over time. So it's important to trade and train as much as possible. Right now, I can already see the first entry point and now I'll explain it to you. So let's start by choosing a horizontal line. Let's put it on the upper values of these candles. Let's define it as the resistance level since this is the highest point for a given period of time. At the same time, we see that there was a slight upward movement here. At the same time, a green histogram is currently being formed. It means that volumes are growing for an increase and soon the price will move up. So let's try to open a trade for a raise for 3 minutes in an uptrend here. It's more likely that the price will continue to move directly towards the resistance level. As we see that the overall price potential is going up, the main price lows are getting higher. It's quite possible that a trend reversal will occur soon and the price will continue to move up. We take 3 minutes to spare, taking into account the possible trading. I hope that this time will be quite enough for us, so let's wait what happens here. The price continued to move up after the trading zone and we make a profit. We managed to make money on this upward movement. The indicator turned out to be right and gave us a good entry point. You may have noticed that 2 red columns formed during the formation of the green histogram. This is the case I mentioned earlier. That is, the indicator reacts to downward pullbacks. This case can be considered as an error, since we see that the overall price potential is still going up and a green histogram is mainly formed. I suggest opening the next trade for a raise here, again for 3 minutes. Since we see that the price continues to move towards the level, there's still quite a lot of space before the resistance level. At the same time, we see that the green histogram continues to form. That is, the volumes for an increase continue to grow. I hope that we will have time to make money on this upward movement, so let's watch the price and wait for the result. There was some fading, but still we made a profit. There was a slight downward pullback. During this very downward pullback, a red histogram was formed. That is, even with an upward movement, pullbacks occur in the opposite direction. Since the price moves in waves, that is absolutely normal. Well, let's open the next trade for a raise right here, only this time we will open it for 2 minutes as the price is getting closer and closer to the level. I think that this time will be enough for us. We see that even after the red histogram, the green histogram begins to form again. That is, the uptrend continues to exist. We will try to make money on this upward movement. The price continued to move towards the level and we make a profit. We managed to make money on this upward movement again. The indicator turned out to be right again and gave us a good entry point. We managed to make money on 3 trades in a row on this uptrend. At the same time, we had a common understanding of the trading case. The green histogram was mainly formed, but the red histogram was also partially formed. But we understood these moments that these are just small downward pullbacks. Therefore, it's important to understand the general trading case. And of course, it would not be worth opening a trade for a fall. At that moment, the red histogram wasn't formed. I hope that this point is clear to you and you already have at least some idea about this indicator and the trading case in general. Only competent combination of technical analysis and indicators together will give us good results. As I said earlier, you will learn to understand all this over time with experience. Well, so I suggest to continue and find the next entry point. We have a level of support down here. We see that there's a downward movement at the moment. The price is moving down quite confidently. At the same time, we see that a red histogram is being formed. Volumes for fall are growing. It means that the price will move down soon. So let's open a trade for a fall for 3 minutes, taking into account a possible trading or a pullback up, because as you already know, the price moves in waves. Of course, even with downward movements, upward pullbacks may occur. Well, now let's watch the price and see what happens here. There was indeed an upward pullback, but after the pullback, the price turned around and continued to move down again. This is where we made a profit. In this case, just 3 minutes was enough for us. At the same time, a green histogram was formed at the time of the upward pullback. This case can be considered an error. We will open the next trade again for a fall for 3 minutes. Following a downward trend, as we see that the price continues to move down while a red histogram begins to form. At the same time, we understand that overall price potential is going down. At the moment, a downward is forming. At the moment, a downtrend is forming, and of course, in this case, it's more likely that the price will continue to move directly to the support level. So let's wait for the result. The price continued to move towards the level, and we make a profit. We managed to make money on this downward movement again. These cases show themselves well. I hope that you already have a better understanding of the principle of operation of this indicator, as well as the general trading case on the market. Well, let's continue and find some more working cases. We'll have a certain level of resistance up here. We see that the price has already given some kind of reaction at this level. At the same time, we see that at the moment there is an upward movement. There's another internal resistance level here. Just at the moment the price reached this internal level, there's some kind of compression. Here I suggest opening a trade for a raise for 3 minutes. It's more likely that the price will continue to move up and enter this zone. Since the price here recently had a good potential for a raise, at the same time we see that the indicator confirms our entry point. A green histogram is formed, and it means that volumes for increase are growing, and soon the price will begin to move up. We will try to make money on this upward movement. The price fell into the trading zone, but still the upward movement continues and we managed to make a profit again. At the same time, a downward pullback occurred during the upward movement. A red histogram was also formed. At the moment, we see that after the red histogram, the green histogram begins to form again. We see that the price continues to move up. At the same time, there's still room for the next resistance level. Let's open a trade for a raise for 3 minutes. It's quite possible that the price will continue to move towards the main resistance level, which is higher. We can see that a confident pulse green candle formed. I hope that in this case we will have time to make money on this movement. After the trading zone, the upward movement continued and we made a profit again. We managed to make money on this upward movement. At the same time, a red histogram was formed during the trading zone. But as you understand, it doesn't mean that the price will move down. Since we see that the price continued to move up, there is a good confident uptrend. Therefore, it's important to understand and distinguish between such cases. After all, we pay attention to the trading case on the market, and only then do we take into account the hints and indicators. When you learn to understand and distinguish between these cases, the percentage of your positive trades will definitely increase. Therefore, be sure to trade and train as much as possible. Study the movements of the charts, and then you will make good money. So let's find the next entry point. Here we have a resistance level. We see that after touching the level, there was a pullback down, and after the pullback, the price turned around and is approaching our level again. In this case, I suggest opening a trade for a raise for 2 minutes. It's more likely that the price will continue to move towards the resistance level. At the same time, we see that the indicator confirms our entry point. That is, a green histogram is formed. Volumes for increase are growing. At the same time, we see that the overall price potential is going up. I hope that 2 minutes will be quite enough in this case. So let's watch the price and see what happens here in the next 2 minutes. The price continued to move towards the level and will make a profit. At the resistance level, the price fell into the trading zone, but the most important thing is that 2 minutes was quite enough for us, and we managed to make money on the approach of the price to the level. At the same time, we see that this level hasn't yet been broken through, and at the moment the price is moving in a certain trading zone. At the same time, a red histogram begins to form, but it doesn't mean that a pullback will occur in the near future, because we see that there is no pullback from the level as such, but just the opposite. At the moment, there's a certain compression of the resistance level, and it's quite possible that this level will be broken through soon. Of course, in this case, a downward pullback may occur, and now I just suggest to observe the price. And as soon as an exit occurs after the trading zone, for example, a level breakout occurs, that is, the price begins to go beyond the level limit, then we will open a trade for a raise. If there's a sudden exit from the downside trading zone, then we will open a trade for a fall. So let's just watch the price for now. The price impulsively goes beyond the level. We open a trade for a raise for 1 minute. Just at the moment the resistance level is breaking through, I think we will get into the most impulsive upward price movement. At the same time, we see that a green histogram is beginning to form. That is, the volumes for a raise are starting to grow. I hope that in this case 1 minute will be enough for us, and we will have time to make money on this upward movement. So let's watch the price. The price continued to move up, this level was broken through, and we get a good profit. 1 minute was just enough for us. The indicator turned out to be right again and gave us a good entry point. We managed to predict the further price movement. Meanwhile, I already have $11,000 on my deposit, and I suggest to finish our trade for today. I fix the profit and leave the market. So with the right approach and certain knowledge, this strategy works perfectly. Now you know how this indicator works and how to use it in combination with technical analysis. Try to connect this indicator and look for similar cases in the market. Trade and train as much as possible, and over time you will definitely succeed. I hope this video turned out to be useful for you and you like this way of trading. Well, if you want to get profitable trading signal from me, send me the code word team to my private messages Telegram. I will add you to my close Telegram channel where I'm going to share it with you. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like my videos, leave a comment and press the bell. See you soon. Bye.